G'day metalheads, I'm Wayne from Vulvagun and you are watching The Hard Rock Show. Get into it.
Hi, welcome to The Hard Rock Show. I'm Shane.
I'm Andrew.
And as usual, too much.
Yeah, way too
That's
much.
all I'm going to say, too much.
Yeah, it's very hard to keep getting through it all. We're going to have to move to an hour at some point, I reckon. The rate we're going.
Yeah, we don't know how to limit ourselves, and we don't really want to, so...
We never were able to limit ourselves in anything, so...
So, alright, Hard Rock happenings.
Let's get into it.
First off, it's not so much a news story yet, but by the time you watch this, it will be a news story.
In some way, shape or form, yeah.
It's Thursday right now. We're filming on a Thursday.
Yep.
Tomorrow is the day that Black Sabbath doing a press conference, and we don't know whether they're going to be announcing that they're going to do another album, whether they're doing a world tour, whether they're doing both. We are just waiting with bated breath to find out.
Now, the only information I found about it is it's both. But again, it's all hearsay, innuendo, whatever you want. This stuff has been around the rumour mill for a long time now, but now it's sort of a case of, well, they're moving on with something. They're making some sort of announcement, so...
Who knows? The press conference could be to say, leave us alone, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, telling the press to fuck off, basically, so there you go.
But yeah, it's all just a wait-and-see deal at the moment, so...
See what comes out of it.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting for sure. Alright, I'll go to one now. Everyone knows about the ongoing saga with Velvet Revolver finding a new vocalist. Slash has come out and said that over the next few months they're going to sit down with 2 or 3 guys in mind and try them out. So the search is definitely still active, actually happening a lot sooner than we thought it would be continuing on, especially with how busy the guys are.
Yep, we were just talking about that before.
And so it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of it. They're not setting anything in concrete or anything like that, but they're just saying that they're still actively looking, which for me is great news.
That is good news,
So,
definitely.
Looking forward to that.
Yep.
Hopefully. Hurry up.
Yeah.
Basically.
Now, I guess on this one, the people have spoken.
Very much so. This is very hard to ignore.
Lulu, the Metallica and Lou Reed collaboration, sold 13,000 copies in its first week of sales.
And that's poor by anyone's standards, especially for a name like Metallica.
Pretty bad.
Yep.
When you consider that Death Magnetic did something like 489,000 in its first week.
Yeah, a ridiculous amount of units. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of terrible numbers for them. But Megadeth sold 42,000 copies in their first week. So
of the album fittingly called 13.
Yeah. So Megadeth has finally destroyed Metallica in the charts, and
I don't think they just destroyed it. I think they did a lot more things to it than that, but not hard to imagine why.
Quite obviously, 13 is a far greater album than Lulu ever was going to be capable of. So
that was never going to be a good thing.
More power to Megadeth.
Well, congratulations, guys. Enjoy it. So I know I'd be. Okay, now a couple of downer sort of stories here. Brian Johnson of AC/DC, the lead singer there, has had to cancel his book tour. He's going in for wrist surgery, so to him, best wishes, hope he recovers soon. But he is still booked to do his NASCAR driving thing in the States in the early new year, I think. So that'll be, well, hopefully comes through okay and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, his book tour thing is kind of off at the moment. And on related notes, the almighty Lemmy, the god himself, has had to cancel a show due to an injury to his left hand, which kind of makes it hard to play the bass, and I can't imagine anyone filling in for Lemmy.
Nobody gets to fill in for Lemmy.
No, never going to happen. So to him as well, speedy recovery. Hope things are going well for you.
Absolutely. More people have just been added to the Big Day Out lineup for 2012.
Yes.
Cavalera Conspiracy is one of them, which is Max Cavalera and his brother Igor, their, I guess, reunion collaboration.
And that's a good album too.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Was it their second album? So, yeah, they've been added, and another couple of bands, Calling All Cars, have been added. And Stonefield, who we talked about a few weeks ago, and we played one of their clips, they've been added too, which is fantastic for them.
Yeah.
So big things happening for them. They're also supporting the Foo Fighters and Cold Chisel on their current tours. So,
which is very impressive. So congratulations, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck to them. So, Big Day Out's shaping up to be a good lineup.
Yeah.
With the exception of Kanye West, of course.
Not going there, basically. I'm going to leave that right the hell alone.
Yep.
Okay, this one's a bit of a entertaining kind of a story, I guess. Glenn Danzig has been a complete douche, as it is on our board there in front of us. He's done what Axl Rose seems to do and gone a step further. His latest gig has just, I don't know, been appalling from all reports. He's rocked up, claimed he was unwell, claimed the arena was too cold for him, wanted them to move it inside, and demanded soup and vitamins be delivered to him and all this stuff. And the cutoff time for this gig at the place they're at was 10 p.m. He went on stage 45 minutes late and continued to piss and moan and rant the whole time and performed only a handful of songs and not many of the Misfits songs. So he's just been a complete dick. So apparently the event organisers said this is the single most rock star moment we've ever had to deal with, and they've canned him, saying they had to pay him anyway and they think the fans got ripped off themselves. I think the Damned were playing the next day, canned him their entire set, and apparently it was hilarious. So credit to them, and Glenn, you're an idiot.
Last part of the Hard Rock Happenings is Gojira have just signed with Roadrunner Records, which is a great thing for them.
Yes.
Roadrunner Records, they really know how to handle their metal bands. If you look back over the years, they've had Fear Factory, Sepultura. Actually, they've had every project that Max Cavalera has ever been involved in.
That's actually a very good point.
Typo Negative. I mean, at the moment, they've got Megadeth. Actually, I'm not sure if they do now. I think Megadeth might have jumped ship.
Yeah, maybe.
Before their latest album came out. But, so good luck to Gojira.
Yes.
I think Roadrunner's going to be a good home for them. So
yeah, it's a good step. So congratulations to them for sure. All good.
Now on to the new releases that we've got. And we've got a couple of decent ones this week.
We do indeed.
Michael Munro. He used to be with Hanoi Rocks.
Yes.
Got a real glam sort of background behind him. This new album's called Sensory Overdrive. It's a really, really cool album.
Yes.
Very diverse as well.
I found this to be having a distinct sort of punkish sort of a vibe to it. It was very, very energetic, very cool. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's a very good album.
Yeah.
I really love the track 78.
Yep.
Which is basically about being caught up in a certain era.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic track. And it's a great album from start to finish.
Yeah. That was very cool, and when we listened to it before, it was very enjoyable. So definitely go and check that one out.
Yeah. Next up is the Misfits.
Yes.
Speaking of Danzig, it's his former band. He's no longer with them, obviously.
Not for a while now.
But they've just dropped their new album, The Devil's Reign.
Very cool.
It's definitely a Misfits album. It's not Danzig era Misfits, obviously, but I think it's their first album since
a long
97 or something like that.
It was a long time.
Yeah,
I remember that, but I
it's
forget the dates.
Very good album, very consistent.
Yeah.
They're about to tour Australia. I think they're playing the Hi-Fi Bar in Melbourne on the 3rd of December.
Okay.
I believe might be the 2nd of December. It's around then.
Yep.
And Electric Dynamite's actually the opening band,
which is very cool.
Is great. So
a hell of a support gig, I should say, to get. So congratulations to them as well.
But off The Devil's Reign, and one of my favourite tracks is the actual title track called The Devil's Reign. But the album is, again, very consistent.
Yeah, it's good front to back, and it's
basically everything you'd want from a Misfits record, really. Nothing
new, nothing diverse. It's just more of the same, and it's very good for that fact. So it's a good one.
And lastly, we've got Calling All Cars have just released their new album, which is called Dancing with a Dead Man. They're a Melbourne band. They're awesome. They opened for AC/DC back in 2009, I believe, was the world tour.
Sounds about right.
That was the first time I'd ever heard of Calling All Cars, and I walked away from there wanting their album, and
you got it very quickly afterwards.
I like this album.
Yeah.
I loved their first one. I like this one.
Yep.
The highlight track is Reptile, which is, I think, the second or third track on the album.
Yeah.
But it is a cool album.
Very talented vocalist. Very talented vocalist.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But they also put on a really good live show, so I'm assuming that there should be some shows coming up to tour for this album.
Well, if not, then there's the Big Day Out. So
yeah, well, I just mentioned it before as being part of the lineup for Big Day Out now. So definitely get out there and see them and grab a copy of the album. It's a good
Very
album.
good, yeah. Very enjoyable. All right. Well, we're through all that, so I guess we managed to get through that much at least.
Now we're on to the feature band of the week,
Yes.
which is Vulvagun.
Now, do not take offence to the name. There's a story behind it which we'll cover. But very, very, very good album.
Absolutely. The album's called Cold Moon Over Babylon.
Yes.
It's all self-released and funded and everything like that, and it's been selling very well overseas.
Self-recorded as well.
Self-recorded.
Everything's done themselves.
It's interesting to note that this band has never played live together.
Not yet. Not yet.
They're not a young band.
No.
So they have played live, but they've never played live as Vulvagun.
Well, they've been in a lot of bands over the duration of their careers. So.
Absolutely. I can't even begin to rattle off a list.
There's too many.
To who's who of Australian metal that these guys have been in.
Just look them up and you'll find out very quickly for yourselves. It's amazing.
They are planning to play live.
Yes.
Next year sometime. They'll hopefully take the stage and hopefully we'll be front and centre because I can't wait to see them live.
If the album's anything to go by, these guys can really rock on, so it's going to be awesome.
Now, it's the debut album.
It is.
But I'm not sure if the interview that we've done is going to cover this part of it or not, whether it's going to be left out, but it's interesting to know that there's already album 2 and album 3 in the works.
And album 3 is already more written than album 2 is.
Album 3 is further advanced than album 2.
It's a triptych or something he was calling it. It's a story of 3 parts, and it's all based on the Lesser Key of Solomon is what it was, So, very interesting topic, and lyrically very
intelligent.
That's a very good word for it, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an epic album.
That's saying something.
It runs at about 79 minutes.
Something like that. That's about right. Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
But we've talked about this before.
Yep.
It does not get long in the tooth.
No, not for us anyway. We found it very entertaining.
Yeah.
It doesn't get boring. The songs are diverse enough. The playing is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And the mix is one of the best mixes I've heard to bring out the vocals in an album. So I reckon that really stands out. I reckon.
And Wayne, who you're about to see an interview with, is a very, very talented vocalist.
Hell yeah.
Vulvagun brings to mind Iron Maiden for me all the time.
First off,
and Ed Guy and bands like that kind of power metal sort of
epic.
vibe.
But you got a little mix in there of things like Sabbath and Priest and all that sort of stuff. It's all this old stuff melted into one big pot, and most of the songs on the album go for 6 or 7 minutes. Yeah. So it's all epic stuff. I think that there's one song at the end which is about 1.5 minutes long. There's an instrumental in the middle, which is worth mentioning here because he did this on purpose as a trick to break up the album. Yeah. Now, usually
side 1, side 2
from the old vinyl. Yeah. Now that's very intelligent, and Noah was wrapped with that. I thought that was really clever. So this is a very, very intelligently done album. I reckon it's well worth listening to.
But at the moment, we might have a listen to the man himself.
Yes.
So here's our interview with Wayne Dwyer from Vulvagun.
The first one filmed on our set. We should mention that. So.
He was sitting right where you're sitting
That's
right
right.
now.
Yeah. Kept the seat warm for me, I guess.
So here it is. Enjoy. Okay, we're here with Wayne Dwyer from Vulvagun. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a quick chat with him.
How you going?
Not bad, yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me here. It's great.
No worries. Thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about your band Vulvagun and how it came together.
Well, it came together just out of me having a recording studio and being able to sit down and write songs, always writing. And it just so happened that I got enough songs together that were coherent as a single piece. I was in the studio one day with another band that I was producing, and one of them sort of said, "Why haven't you got an album out? This is ridiculous." And then, having produced them, I thought, well, I've got to get my ass into gear and do it. So, that was the seed of it, and that was probably 18 months ago. I've always had bands, always written, but this is probably, the most coherent piece I've ever done as a band. So, called a few of my old friends from bands that I've been playing with for years, and they said yes, so it was good. So we got together and started writing and recording.
What's the name Vulvagun all about?
Okay.
It's a little bit of an odd name.
Yeah, a lot of the reviews have said, have remarked on the name, and the positive thing about that is that people are talking about it, whether they hate it or like it.
It's definitely a memorable name, that's for sure.
That's right. Yeah. It came about because I was in a band with some of the guys from Vulvagun, and the band was called Wizard Sleeve, which is, if you know what it means, then it's one of those words that you're either going to like it or hate it as well. And the guitarist sort of said, oh, you know, Wizard Sleeve, in a very Manowar fashion, we're the kings of Vulvic metal. Yeah. And then I said to him, I'm writing some songs at the moment. I've decided to call one Vulvagun, just in the realms of it. And the song itself is about it's about how the world is run by stupid white men, as Michael Moore would say. And it sort of puts across this idea that wouldn't it be great if just suddenly women took over and we're in control, and all these idiot blokes, greedy fat blokes that run the countries are out of the picture. Yep. What would happen? Would it be good or would it be bad? I don't know. But so Vulvagun is about the power of women and them having a different outlook on life and different priorities and all that kind of thing. So then when it came the time to name the band, I just thought, oh, that's a cool word. And I'd never said it out loud really to anyone until my mum said, what are you going to call the band? And I kind of went, Vulvagun. And it made me really uncomfortable, and that's as soon as I thought I feel uncomfortable, then it's got to be the right thing. Yeah. So as far as the band goes, it's just a word. Doesn't have to mean anything at all. I don't care whether people hate it. All I care is that they remember it. So you know, if you can't get past the name and you're into metal, then maybe are you listening to the right music?
Yeah,
you know,
you should probably look elsewhere anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty terrible band names around, and some pretty offensive ones. But Steve Hughes always said, if you're offended, it's subjective. You know, it's how you feel. It's not how the rest of the world feels. It's internal. So if you can't get over it, it's not always going to be representative of what our music's about. But that's kind of a good thing. Doesn't mean that we're pigeonholed. People have said in reviews, you're a power metal band with a name like Vulvagun. It's confusing. Yeah. Good.
Just wanted to talk about your lyrical influences as well.
Yeah.
The album is based on the Lesser Key of Solomon.
That's right. Yeah.
How did you come across this subject matter?
I'm really interested in religious history. I'm not a religious person by any means, which makes for interesting sort of ideas coming into it as well. But just that the bloodshed and the self-righteousness of that whole era from 4,000 years ago up till recently. So the Lesser Key of Solomon, you'd have to look into Solomon to really get an idea of who he was. But he was a sort of a First Testament icon, and from his power developed a lot of mythology. And the Lesser Key of Solomon is a book of, it's not of demonology. It's more of a book of how to raise demons, for whether you use them for good or bad. So that's the core of the idea of the album. And everything else expands out from there as to how people use power and how they suppress ideas and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of mysticism in there, a little bit of magic and all that kind of stuff. Again, not stuff that I personally believe in, but things that I find really interesting to read about and to know. The
album is referred to in your bio as a theme album rather than a concept album.
Yeah.
What would you say the differences are?
To me, a concept album is an album that tells a story from start to finish. That's just my personal idea of what a concept album might be. Like if you take Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche, there's a definite story there. Sometimes it's a little hard to follow, which can be good because you can get your own ideas into it as well. To do a concept album, I think you're kind of constrained lyrically. Dream Theory have done a few things here and there where you hear the same thing over and over again, and the same words get repeated, and that's just something I've observed. So I just kind of wanted to have a little bit more of a ambiguous kind of vibe with the lyrics. There's a band called Sabotage who I still like, but they brought out a concept album, I don't know, 1988 or something like that, and I really hated it because they had to write about this idea. Yep. And it became boring to me very quickly. A lot of other people like that album, so I just wanted something that was more about a vibe and an idea and a theme rather than a story from start to finish.
In your bio, it states that Vulvagun is the big one. What does that mean?
Well, for me, it means none of us are getting any younger, and I've done a lot of different projects in the past, but this is the one that I'm most focused on. I've had more focus on this probably than any other project I've ever done. We're really attempting to make this an album that is going to be remembered and that is the start of something big. When I've done projects previously, you're working with people that have their own ideas about things, so it can go any way, and also technology really allows us to get it right. Yep. So I'm certainly more focused on getting this thing to be successful than I've ever done with anything else of mine in the past. So it's really important to me that it works. And you can only really gauge success on how you want it to be. So for me, it's been really successful so far anyway. So in that, I got it done.
Yep.
You know, it's a product you can hold it in your hand, and that's a miracle to me. Yeah.
What was the decision behind recording an album before you guys had gigged, and you still haven't actually gigged as a band together?
That's right. The idea of that was that it's always very difficult to be in a band in that you've got to form it. You've got to get into a room together. You've got to look at each other and say, what are we going to do? You've got to write, then you've got to gig, then you've got to record. We've all done that before. It's very difficult, as any band out there will tell you. It's not an easy task. So I just because I've got a studio, I just thought let's start with the album and go back the other way. So let's have a product in our hand that tells everyone what we are before we do anything. So there's no confusion. Also, being in Australia, it means that it's a big country, so it's not always easy to get to every city to play anyway. So let's have the product out before we do it. Yeah. And as far as Europe goes, we may never get to play there, so they're not going to be too bothered by the fact that they've only got the album. They haven't got anything. They haven't seen us visually. So yeah, the album we wanted as a statement of here we are, and everything else is going to come afterwards.
What's next for Vulvagun?
Next is, as I was saying, we're putting packages together now, going out to record companies. We have had some interest from a few companies in Europe, but we want to get them a package and really decide on what we want to do. But hopefully someone that we want to be with gives us a call and we can sign something with them. And the reason we want to get a deal is simply because we want to get it into more people's hands. It's not for any other reason. It's just it's every band's dream to get a deal and to get their CDs into shops. We're looking for distribution in Australia, and we're nearly there. So hopefully it can be bought in a few different stores around. After that, next year we're going to do a new album, which is going to be the second part. We're doing a triptych, which means it's almost like a 3-part album series. So the third part's pretty much written. The second part is being written now. So the third album has been written before the third one, second one basically.
Yep. So
next year a new album will be out.
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully that will continue onwards, and we'll do some shows next year as well.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Shane.
All right, we're back. Hope you enjoyed the interview. I know we enjoyed doing the interview, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind that is probably not even half of the interview, so we will put the rest up as a standalone video.
Definitely.
For sure. But he spent a lot of time with us, so thank you again, Wayne, for the time you spent with us. It was a very enjoyable afternoon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about this earlier.
Yep.
How difficult it actually is to pick a favourite or standout track from the album.
I struggled in a big way because every time I put it on, I'd find new ones that I like more. It was just insane. So.
Exactly. In the end, though, we did come to some final decisions.
Well, I found a conclusion for today, at least. So I don't know how long
it'll probably change next time you listen to the album.
But,
I think the Black Pyramid is probably my favourite on the album. The absolute standout for me at the moment, at least.
Yep.
And then the title track, Cold Moon Over Babylon.
Yep.
And I also love Malachi.
Yep.
Which is another very, very cool track.
Yeah.
Again, they're all epic tracks.
Yep.
But like we said, they never get boring.
No. And the album itself, you could put the thing on from start to finish and it tells a really good story and it goes through the motions. Like I said, it's a theme album, so it's going through what it does. But you put the thing on random, on shuffle or whatever you got, and each song alone stands up really, really well. You don't need one to hear the other and stuff. They all stand alone really well. Now, for me, Confessions of a Flesh Eater is a top track.
And it's a really cool name for a song, too.
Yeah, I know. I go for the somewhat darker titles, I think, and then the other one is A Murder of Demons. So... But
so you're all about murder and eating flesh
eating and things like this. So yeah, I'm kind of a twisted individual, I guess. And then
nothing wrong with that.
No. And I will want to throw out honourable mention to the instrumental In the Heart of the Mountain, I believe it's called, because I just reckon that's a kick-ass instrumental. It only goes for about 3 minutes. It's one of the shorter tracks on the album, but really cool break in the album too. I love it.
Well, let's play one of the songs.
I guess so. It's about that time.
Yeah. Here's the clip for Arise Neophyte from the album Cold Moon Over Babylon by Vulvagun. Enjoy. Alright, that was Arise Neophyte by Vulvagun from their debut album Cold Moon Over Babylon.
Definitely get this album. I'm going for the 3, but not really. I'm going for very, 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 and definitely.
Yep.
Try that bloody 10 times fast with your tongue tied.
That's going to be a mouthful.
Yeah, but no, get it. It's fantastic, and they are selling really well.
Yeah, it is available on iTunes, or you can get hard copies of the album through the band, so look them up.
Details are up on screen as usual, so...
Now, I just wanted to point out as well, if you get a minute, if you like what you saw from the film clip, there is an entertaining video. It's actually 2 videos. It's part 1, part 2 of the making of the film clip, and it goes behind the scenes, and it's quite entertaining. So yeah, if you get a minute, check it out.
Sure.
And obviously check out the band on Facebook and Reverb Nation and all those sites that we always throw out there.
Media. Yeah.
The album, like I said, it's available on iTunes, or get a hard copy from the band.
Yes.
And that's about all we can say.
No, I can't rave about this one enough. And it's definitely a metal album. This is not a hard rock. This one goes right into metal and right into old school metal. So if you like your old school stuff, this is definitely one for you, because all the influences you could want are there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I guess that's about all for now.
That's it for the Hard Rock Show this week.
We're about out of time.
Until next week, drink up.
Rock on.
No, that's funny, because that's kind of how Aussie moves these days anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Very slow.
Yeah. And jittery and sort of, oh, get...
I should have jig moving too. Play some Number of the Beast. Is that recording?
Yes.
Oh no, that was good. Shit.